Tell me what you're drinking, we can go pour one. Tell me what you're thinking, we can have some more fun.
You sent me this one about how the Players Alliance
Yeah. Okay, so
is
more
pissed off about the
MLBPA
pitch
news.
clock. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you read this at all?
I don't know. I didn't read. Did you send me an article? I read one article from Bleacher Report.
I sent you a lot of articles, but in this one, basically it's, who's his name? Tony
Clark,
the head of the MLBPA. He came out and he says he's against the pitch clock. So if you remember, we talked about this.
He didn't say that.
Yes, let me just finish So if you remember a few episodes ago, we talked about the changes to the pitch clock. So last year they implemented the pitch clock. So there's 15 seconds you get to throw a pitch if there's no one on the bag. And there's 20 seconds you get if there are guys on the bases. This year, they'll be cutting out the 15 seconds with no one on will stay. But the 20 seconds will now become 18 seconds if there's someone on the bag. And Tony Clark and I guess the MLBPA more broadly, feel that this 2 seconds is not good. They are not for the 2 second shaving of the pitch clock. So I know why he said that and we can talk about that, but what's your initial take on that?
I just think it's like yin and yang. MLB does something, MLBPA complains about it. That's what it is. At the end of the day, I actually think it's good for baseball that it's 18 seconds. It's not that big of a deal that you have 2 seconds or less to throw a pitch with runners on base, to be honest. And if anything, it makes the game better because it'll lead to more stolen bases or something, guys getting better jumps. They do have like questions for. Well, you said why. You know why he said it. Why do you think he said it?
No, he said in the article I read, his quote.
If I can say first what I think it is, I think it's just him posturing to try to have like a. Just like everyone wants power, he wants to be able to. It's not I don't think it's about the pitch clock. I think it's about further conversations in the future, and he wants to be able to have a voice in further conversations and just get MLBPA's power more larger. If that makes sense.
So I have the quote here. So this is from there's a quote from Tony Clark. So he says, when fatigue happens, you're more susceptible to injury. We're seeing a lot of injuries, and we're seeing them in a way that simply can't remove the question of whether or not shortening recovery time is in anyone's best interest. So essentially his argument is that pitchers have less time to recover when you start shaving off the seconds, and especially when they're basically putting in their maximum effort to get that pitch velocity. It's really important for them to be able to take a breath, slow down, recover, and then throw the next pitch. So he's worried basically that as we keep shortening it, we're going to see more injuries. And I guess what he says is an increase in injuries we can't say isn't already from the pitch clock. So that's what his stance has been.
Yeah, I don't know if he's if he's explicitly saying that the pitch clock leads to injuries.
Well, I think it sounds like he's saying you can't rule it out.
Yeah, the question.
You don't know.
Yeah, he can't rule out the question that does it not. So we shouldn't be shortening the time with runners on base. That's what he's saying.
Yes.
To that, I think that's a valid point. But there's got to be a study, right? Like minor league studies of, hey, we did pitch clocks in this league. We did a pitch clock last year. Small sample size last year. Only one season is not like enough of a sample size. But hey, does the pitch clock lead to more injuries? Just a hunch. I don't think it does. Just a hunch. And some people are that might be like a hot take because people are like, well, what do you mean? You're throwing more. You're throwing quicker, like less time in between. Like, of course.
Yeah, that would be Tony's argument.
Yeah. Well, he said the question. I don't think he's like explicitly making the argument, but. I just think a hunch it doesn't really lead to. I think they were getting injured way before the pitch clock, when they were taking 30 minutes in between pitches. And if anything, there's an argument to be said that since you're lowering the time in between pitches, you're not the reason why injuries happen is because they're going max effort on every pitch. And if you lower time in between pitches, it doesn't let them do max effort on every pitch, which means less injuries. So you could argue it either way. Anyone can make an argument for anything. That's why I say let's see a study and let's see data. But
yeah, I wouldn't even really trust that, to be honest with you, because there's so many variables to something like injury, from the players' ages and their diets and the game, the pace of everything. There's so much that can go into that. I don't know how you would prove or disprove that. I don't know that 10 seconds or 2 seconds is going to make that much of a deal, but I'm not a pitcher. So, I hesitate to be really strong in one way or another.
Not a major league pitcher, I can tell you that. But I did work fast when I was pitching, like on a high school. I pitched in high school, and like I have 3 innings in college, so I can speak from an expert level.
Okay.
But no, I worked fast, and there's a lot of pitchers that do work fast. And quite honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I think of the pitchers that work fast, I don't know any of them that get injured.
Right.
Now, someone's gonna probably find a pitcher that works fast and got injured, but I think let me look. I'm pretty sure Mark Burley was a guy who threw really, very quick pace. And I'm going to look up Mark Burley injury to see if he is injured ever. Not to say he wasn't. I mean, he probably was. But we're talking about Tommy John, shoulder problem, stuff like that. Mark Burley. Will there ever be a starting pitcher? Consistent. First thing, I put Mark Burley injury, and the first thing that pops up on Google is a Reddit thread that says, will there ever be a starting pitcher as consistently healthy as Mark Burley? So, there you go.
So, if Reddit says it must be true.
No, but, hey, I'm just saying, as someone who has played, I mean, and obviously not a major leaguer, but, I mean, I played baseball. And I just said, there's arguments to say that, hey, you have less time in between pitches. You can't put max effort into it. Leads to, I mean, it's pretty common sense that if you're not throwing max effort, you're not gonna you're less susceptible to injuries as if you were throwing max effort. If you throw 100 pitches as hard as you can every single
your
time,
arms gonna be really tired.
Yeah, and you do that for a 162 game season versus you throw 100 pitches at, I don't know,
50%.
No,
lob it over.
No, but you get what I'm saying, 80% or something like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, it used to be that pitchers back in the day would save some back, save some, save some bullets. But or now, and that's why relievers kind of grew in the game too, because you were able to tell a guy, dude, you got three batters, give them hell, and they would go out there and throw their Wade Davis is a great example, starting pitcher for the Rays, through low 90s, I think, maybe mid 90s, goes to Kansas City, gets put in the bullpen, helps him win a World Series, and is a bullpen dog, and he throws upper 90s to 100.
Yeah,
so
I think
they're able to let it go.
Like anything in sports, you start changing things around, and really, I think what it always comes down to is a change in strategy more than anything, right? So, maybe it doesn't mean that you're max effort every pitch. Maybe it means that there's a focus more on different areas of pitching that can help you out. I don't know, but I think 2 seconds is really funny for
someone to bring up. I said it's not about the pitch clock. This is not about the pitch clock.
That is probably most right. Is that it's not about the pitch clock at all, and it's really about posturing, negotiating. But yeah, fun. Especially after how much we sit here and talk about how amazing the pitch clock is. It's
Love it.
Okay.
Love it. More time off.
You know what? A second. And if you can't pitch it, a run in. Let's just get this game moving.
We should have two
First
batters.
First to 50, we're done.
2 batters hitting at once. 2 home plates.
No, that makes sense.
Double the game time.
Should they hit at each other?
No, just right next to each other.
Just right next to each other.
Boom.
Yeah, but if you get both outs at once, if you get 2 flies and you catch them, then that's
just
3
outs.
outs. No, I feel like that should be an extra out.
No, I don't like that. That's the Savannah Banana baseball rule. But yeah, that's all I got. Do you have any other topics? I know you sent me a ton of topics though. Do you want to talk about it now?
No.
Tell me what you're drinking, we can go pour one. Tell me what you're thinking, we can have some more fun. I know that you said you don't think of me, but what you're doing now is telling different. Tell me what you're drinking, we can go pour one. Tell me what you're thinking, we can have some more fun. I know that you said you don't think of me, but what you're doing now is telling different.